welcome to this episode of First Home Hustle. I'm Kim McCarty.
And I'm Dave Stahl.
Today we are excited to have some first-time home buyers in with us. So we have Haley and Jose, and they are here today, and they're going to talk to us a little bit about how the process went. So we are 2 weeks from closing? How many weeks are we out from closing?
3?
3 weeks? Okay, 3 weeks from closing.
Over 3.
3 weeks. Okay, so we got 3 weeks left, and we're ready to close. So I'm going to start with how we got started, all right? So I've known Haley and her family for a long time. We've done many real estate deals together. So it's Haley's turn to get to buy a house. So Haley and I sat down and talked. Jose wasn't able to come, so we kind of talked about the process. But I want to fast forward to when we started looking at houses with your mom. We went out and looked at houses, and it's safe to say we looked at some dogs first? Yes? All right, so tell us a little bit about that.
So some of the houses we looked at, I don't know if I could ever imagine myself in it. Pictures don't give enough credit to the house.
Right.
The spaces were smaller. It just felt like really like stuffy. You know, it wasn't open. It wasn't inviting.
Right.
And so it was like, oh, great.
Right. It definitely, I always joke, if we could have scratch and sniff pictures, it would really help real estate agents out because we could avoid a lot of houses if we knew it smelled bad before we went even over there. But kind of the same thing, we're really good at taking pictures or having people take pictures and making it look open or making it look bigger than it really is. So I think it's always good to come and look at that and see, oh, why this is not what I was wanting. But I think the funny thing is that you were doing FaceTime video with Jose, and he was quick to say no. So
Easy.
kind of, yeah. So, which I love. I love having somebody who can instantly tell me yes or no. So fast forward, we looked at that day. How many did we look at? Like 4, 3 or 4?
Or 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we found one that we kind of thought was a potential, and we were going to take Jose back. But what happened?
It went under contract
It
literally
went
the
under-
day before we were going to go see it.
It went under contract. So it was actually probably a good thing because it gave us an opportunity to realize that the good ones do end up selling pretty quickly.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So now we're going to take Jose out for the first time. And you wanted to take him back to a few that we had seen and then a couple new ones.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about how quickly Jose walks into houses and eliminates them quickly.
All you heard was nope, nope. I was like, oh.
So Jose, tell me what you thought when we walked into some of those houses.
Well, I'm tall,
Yes.
so seating matters.
Yes.
So the first one went to the one that was weird staircase.
Yes.
I liked it, but I mean, it's like it's happy wife, happy life.
Yes.
So I gotta make sure she's happy too. But then that was a potential house. I was able to see us in there.
Yes.
So then when we went to the only thing that is just the second staircase. When they were too steep,
Yeah.
and I could already see, even though I saw us in the house, I could
Yeah.
see one of our girls ended up in a trip to the hospital.
Yeah. Falling
with
down those stairs. Yeah.
So that one had potential, but
Yeah.
the other ones, as soon as I walked in there, I'm just like you said, felt short. I felt like I had
Yes.
and it was just and just spacing spaces. I like open areas.
Right.
Because, I mean, not only us, but the girls, too, they have to have space to run around, play, all that stuff. And
And you have a large family too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a very
So
large
you
family.
wanted
Yeah.
space for everybody to come over and enjoy the house. So while we were out looking, you actually had a conversation with Dave on the phone. You kind of were
Yeah.
talking back and forth.
I ambushed your
that was-
showings.
that was at,
That was at the house
that was
where you
that
had us
creaky one.
Yeah.
Pinch down.
I
on
literally had to, whenever I went upstairs, the first thing I did, as soon as I walked down, I was like, no. But then that's when you called. So, and y'all were talking. So I was like, well, I'm already here. Might as well look upstairs. So as I go upstairs and I go into a room, when I go in there, I already feel like this. So then I start walking
to dunk
more.
down. Yeah.
So as soon as I go in there, and then the floor starts creaking
Yeah.
bad. So I'm like, okay, yeah, definitely no. So then I go into the bathroom. As soon as you go in there, you see the shower right in the middle. You got a closet here on the left and another closet on the right. in order for you to get to the closet, you got to literally put your head down and get in there. And then there was a mirror on the right-hand side, and for you to see yourself, you had to either sit down or like get down and just like bend over so you can see yourself.
Yeah.
It was small.
So it wasn't going to work for you guys.
No.
But
Was it like a converted attic space or something?
No, it was just it was built in the 70s, so
Okay.
people obviously were shorter back in the 70s. Perhaps that was a lot of it. But I think what was interesting for us is that we started in a certain price point, right? We wanted to stay in a certain budget. And every time I was looking at houses, I was like, this just isn't going to check the boxes that we want to check. So I did a search and I pushed it. And I said, how high can I push this to where I can get us in something that I think is going to be better for you guys? So what I did is call Dave and had a conversation with Dave. So what Dave and I did was really run numbers before I even called you and had this conversation with you. So why don't you kind of go through, Dave, what we kind of discussed about price point versus the actual price of what it's going to cost you a month.
So I think what we were looking at is we were looking at houses that were in the high 300s
And
and
low
maybe
4.
low 4.
Yes.
But it seemed like all of the houses that you guys were looking at, we're going to need you to put some money in it
Yeah.
to make it livable.
Yes.
Not just painting and stuff like that. Just money to make it
Right.
livable. So you called about, hey, what if we were at this price point and we didn't have to spend that money to be livable? Is that more doable? And I think that at the end of the day, the answer to the question was yes, because $30,000 to $40,000 in renovations to make it livable, the money's gonna have to come from somewhere.
Right.
So if we just already had that stuff done, the payment structure actually works out better
Yes.
than you saving money every month to have a new project every month.
Right.
New projects are cool, but
If you
I don't know
don't
about
if you
you.
don't want to spend all your cash, just always doing that. And I knew
Yeah.
we were in a budget.
Mm-hmm.
So when we looked at the numbers, it increased your payment, right? What was it, $150 a month? Is that about what we went up?
150, no more than 200. I
Yeah.
think it
I
was.
think
But now we have a house that the AC's been redone,
Mhm.
the foundation is done, the things are done
Right.
that you're not going to have to go and spend money on right away.
Well, I
So-
think another good thing that happened by doing it is it put us in a spot where we were able, because of the different price point, that seller had a different mindset too, where they were more willing to help
Mhm.
with
Yeah.
closing costs and stuff like that.
Yes.
Whereas the other price point, because of the amount of traffic they were getting,
Mm-hmm.
they might not have been as willing to negotiate that stuff. So I think
Yeah.
it worked out on both ends because
Yeah.
you got a good chunk of change to go towards closing cost. We got you a temporary buy down, so for the first 2 years the payment's less,
Yeah.
and all of that was because yes, we were at a different price point, but I think that different price point brought a different seller too.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yes.
Well, and that's the other thing is we were able to negotiate you guys lots of good opportunity with cash from the seller. Not just, because we kept the price at a certain point for them, but we're still netting them where they're happy and you're getting a little bit of a kickback too. And that helps buy down that rate, but it also gives closing costs for you where now you're just bringing your down payment,
Right.
which is awesome, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about when you walked in this house, the one that we're going to be closing on in 3 weeks.
I got goosebumps.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay, I love that. All right, so I remember Jose saying, Kim, do whatever you got to do. This is the one. Do whatever you got to do. Make it happen.
It was just funny because the first house I was like, it's just like she said, no, not this one. But as soon as we walked in, I'm like, okay, this one's it. This was gonna
This
be
is it.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
was
that-
one thing that he didn't like. He
Yeah.
was like, I was waiting for him to be like, no, but he's like, oh, I like that. I like this. Oh, look, it's open. I was like, okay.
Yeah, so it got him that openness that he wanted, for
Yeah.
sure, yes. And it doesn't have short ceilings. It's
Yeah.
tall,
Yeah,
very
very tall.
two-story, yes. Yeah, so it was definitely good, but I love that. He was just like, yep, this is it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I love
Well, I
that.
think a lot of times when you've looked at a lot of houses, you eventually walk in one that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I didn't, like my first 2 houses I bought, I never really felt that way. But the third house I bought, we had spent the day just like you guys did, looking at a lot of houses, and same thing. Don't like this one. Don't like that. And I'm pretty quick too. Don't like whatever I'm gonna have to do to make this livable. And then you walk in a house and you're like, this one's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
need to look at any more. But we have 7 more scheduled. No, we're done.
Now, this
Yeah.
is it.
Yeah, this is it. We're good.
No more.
We're good. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. So tell us how the process been now that we're under contract. Tell us how you felt about the process from contract to this point.
Stressful.
Stressful. Okay.
Just because when you get everything and you're like, oh, my ducks in a row, and then they get inspection done, and then inspection's like gives you like 2 pages of like red, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh.
Yep.
I
Like,
should have seen her that night. She
I was,
I
like,
walked in.
so
Her eyes were
upset.
red. She was bawling.
Aw.
I was so upset because it's like, you want to fight for a house that you want so badly, but it's like, what do you do with all of this? Like,
Right.
is this feasible? Can you do this? And then like you were just getting like bad, negative things all around. You're like, maybe this wasn't the house. But I told him, I was like, as weird as it is, before we got everything resolved, it was like I still was like, I want to fight for the house.
Right. You
Like
still wanted
I
it.
still want it. Like I can't. Like this can't be the last time we go for this house.
Right.
And it's like the next day we were getting like, oh, there's no foundation problems. Everything's good. And I was like, oh my gosh, see?
So the inspector did his job.
Yes. The
Okay,
inspector
good,
called
good.
out a lot of stuff, but then that's the beauty of having somebody who's got great connections. We got the foundation people over there and we had the foundation looked at and we sent all the old reports and based on the old reports and based on the engineer reports that they had from previous, it's stable. It's held where it has been for 3 years, right?
Yeah,
so
nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. So the foundation guy felt confident that, just continue to maintain. It should all stay the same.
Yes.
So stressful from your point of view. How about from your point of view?
Well, based on that of getting the report back, just seeing her, like I was more like, okay, we're gonna make this happen. If we really want it, if it has all these problems, then that's fine. I could take care of it. Me and my buddies, we could take care of it. I even sent my buddy the report of what the inspector sent us over, and he was like, all right, we got this. We're gonna take care of it.
Yeah.
So I told him, like, hey, no matter what, if you really want it, we'll
We
go
can
for
fix it, yeah.
But it's gonna take us some time to fix it, but we'll fix it.
Yeah.
You know. So that was just even though it was kind of a little bit stressful.
Yeah.
I didn't want her to know that, but
Yeah.
it looked a little stressful. I'm like, all right, I gotta make it happen. That was just the easiest part, but I think the most stressful part was just, me myself, I'm not good with paperwork at all,
Okay.
and that was very stressful. For
So
me.
the stressful part of the paperwork with the loan process, that part, or
With
my
everything.
paperwork?
With
Okay.
everything.
Just
Anything
anything
that has to do with
with
paperwork,
paperwork.
anything is stressful.
Yeah.
Paperwork.
Okay. So the loan process, has that been stressful too, or
Oh,
is it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Finding
Okay.
things that you don't always like have on hand, or
Right.
just getting it. Like my employer is a little different because like we're like a smaller company. His is like a big corporate company, so it's hard to get anything from them in a timely manner.
When you really think that it should have been a lot easier to get all the paperwork, you
Right.
know. But I literally had to call my job 20 times just so that way I could get that paperwork. Like I'll call them, like, okay, we'll just transfer you over to payroll. I'm like, okay, they'll transfer me over to the same person, over and over and over again. It was just pretty stressful.
So that
Not
part
getting
it
an
can be
answer,
stressful.
yeah.
Well, and I know because I've refinanced my house a couple times with Dave, and some of the things you're like, I have no clue where that is or how to find that, and so then you just create a little file on your computer, and that time when you go to
Yeah.
refi, you remember that you did it.
If we think about it, and now we got paperwork done. Now that we think about it, going through the process with them, it wasn't stressful. I think what was making it stressful, it was on our end on getting that information.
It was like everything was like, this is what you need. It was kind of like built out. It was just like getting it. And then like, we've never done home insurance. So I'm like, next time we get a house, we're going to be pros. But right now I'm like, home insurance. So I'm over there asking
Where
my
do I
brother,
start
like, where do
there?
I start? I'm
Yeah.
like, what do I do? This is so new.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, this is fun.
Yes.
We're going to have home insurance by the time we close. Like, that's the goal. But
You have to.
I know. So I'm just like, man, it's not
We've got
easy.
that referral if you need that. So we've got somebody you can call.
Yeah,
But
so
yes.
I was like, man.
Well, I think probably one of the most important pieces of, like, you got the email that said loans approved and we need X, Y, and Z. Probably the biggest part of that email is, if you have questions, let me know.
Yeah.
Because a good loan officer has gone through this process a multitude of times, and they've come across employers where it's a pain in the butt to get stuff. Every one of these situations has occurred.
Yeah.
So by reaching out and asking for help is probably the best thing you can do, because just like some of the documents you need. Well, I have a client right now who's gone through the same thing, and he went to the office to try to get it, and they're like, no, you have to do it online, or everything you need is online. We're not giving you anything. So it's one of those things that I think that for most people, they'll get like that laundry list, and they don't have somebody on the other end of the phone that has experienced all of that and knows how to get what they're trying to get.
Yeah.
You know, like now that we found out that your employer, they do all their payroll automated.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is call an 800 number, give us a code, and we can get it all now without you having to call payroll again.
Right.
So, I mean, but there's stuff like that that we learn through the process, and sometimes it's just like, oh my God, where are we getting this stuff from, or how do we get it? I don't, I didn't save that,
Yeah.
and I get it, but I think one of the more important things is making sure that you've got people on the other end who have experienced it and have gone through it and are able to give you some instruction as to where to go. Just like this morning, you had said that the insurance or yesterday, the insurance person was slow to get stuff to you.
Oh yeah.
So I sent you 2 more contacts for insurance.
Yeah.
Because one of them is going to get it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I
just
mean,
give me home insurance.
I need home insurance.
Give me
All
home
right.
insurance.
Awesome.
but I think that's really important, is to, especially for a first-time home buyer, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
Because we, I know that I don't know how many homes you've sold.
A lot.
Right? I've done a lot of mortgages.
It's just our first process, so we're like,
Right.
we don't want to be like that. People that be like, oh my gosh, we have to ask 1,000 questions.
No,
I
we
don't know what
love
we're doing.
questions.
So I'm like, what if I asked and just like waited for the response and just like slowly like started like asking more and more questions, because we are so lost. I'm like, I don't know.
Well,
what to
no,
do
we
anymore.
love questions, and I think that's what questions are good, because what he said, it kind of stimulates. Oh, I didn't think that other people might not know that answer. So I love when you guys ask questions, because it actually creates a checklist for us moving forward. Oh, next buyers are probably going to ask this same question. We need to already address it. So don't ever be afraid to ask the question. I think if you have the question, somebody else has had that same question.
Oh, I hope so.
We may not have addressed it properly, and we need to remember to address that. So yeah.
From now on, we got to follow everything.
Got my laundry list of questions.
Keep
Yeah.
everything down.
Keep everything.
Don't put it on CDs though, because those are obsolete.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I do. I saved a bunch of stuff, burned
So-
it onto CDs. I'm like, I got these records. And Michelle's like, my wife, she's like, can you get such and such from, like 2004? I'm like, yeah, I got it on a disc. And I'm looking at computers all over. I don't have a disc drive anymore.
Yeah. You cannot get it.
You gotta buy like separately.
Right.
Yes.
Now I got to go buy an external drive, but I still have it.
Yeah.
So
You got to go searching for it, though.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's always something.
Yeah.
it is something.
It is always something. All right, guys. Any follow up or anything you want to throw out there to first time home buyers that are out there that you think would be good advice for them?
Save your paperwork.
Save your
Save
paperwork.
documents, payrolls,
Yeah.
anything. 401k, whatever. Save it.
Save it.
W-2s.
Okay, save paperwork. Good.
Yeah.
What about you, Haley?
You might be getting, when you get your inspection done, don't go all negative.
Don't go freaking out
Don't
yet.
freak out.
Yeah.
You need to wait till you get all the answers. That was probably my first mistake, is not waiting to get the full report and the answers from everybody
Yeah.
before freaking out.
Okay. All right. Well, and that's a great one. I think all buyers, and when we do the inspection, it's always overwhelming because the inspector did their job, right?
Right.
They're telling you, hey, the door doesn't latch properly. Hey, this doesn't work properly. Really, we're not looking for all that. We're looking for those big items.
Yes.
And we've had Brent on the show before, and he's kind of talked us through, like, what are the top 4 or 5 things that you really need to be concerned with. And those are the things that we're going to address. So that's a great one to remind buyers, any buyer, not just first-time home buyers. Trust me, any buyer, they get a little overwhelmed during that process. All right, awesome. Thank you for coming in. Hopefully in 3.5 weeks, we'll be really excited and everything will be done.
We'll have keys in our hands.
The goal is to be excited before then, to know
Yes.
it's done.
Well, with Dave, hopefully we know a good week in advance that we're done.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we're just, when we get all the loan stuff in, then it'll be even better.
Yeah.
We'll be so excited to know everything is good.
Everything's done.
Right now, it's like,
And
still
then
have
you
things
get
to
the
get done.
stress about having enough boxes to move your stuff.
Oh, we got the
Oh no,
boxes
she.
under cover. My work is
as soon as
giving
I
us
got out of
much
work, I called him
more.
like, "Hey, I'm already out of work." She's like, "Can you come swing by my job to pick up some boxes?"
Yeah.
Nice. I
I
love
have
that.
boxes, so I'm like, here, there's a couple more where that came from.
That's awesome.
So we're good on
Awesome.
boxes, but packing them is not.
Packing. Fun stuff. Yes.
That's her job. Packing's her job. My job is unloading them.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming in and thanks for talking to us. If you guys want to get a hold of Dave, how can they do that?
They can reach me by calling 972, cameras over there, right? 972-896-8790.
And if you want to get a hold of us, we're at 214-662-9308. And remember, if you want to buy a house anywhere in the United States, we can help you find the perfect agent or the perfect lender.